everybody!
Hi, Dr. Nick!
Welcome to hell.
Yes.
Or as everyone else calls it, the Random Onion. So for today's video, we just saw Godzilla Minus One yesterday at noon.
The talk of all of the internet
Yeah.
right now.
Godzilla is hot right now.
So this is going to be a review and discussion of Godzilla Minus One. So if you're worried about spoilers, then come back after you watch the movie, basically.
Yeah.
Because we're going to spoil the shit
It's
out
been
of it.
out. It's been out for a whole weekend. Like Godzilla Minus One, this film is actually a period piece, which with a lot of the newer Godzilla movies taking place in the modern era, you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
And this is one of a few Godzilla movies that isn't actually like Japanese Toho Godzilla movies. We're not going to talk about Legendary or the TriStars one yet, because I'm sure that'll come up.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, only the second Japanese movie from Toho that isn't a sequel to the 1954 original.
They've kind of rebooted a few times.
So, yeah, they've rebooted it a few times. You have the Showa era, which were, like, you have the 54 movie and then all the sequels to the 54 movie. And that's when Godzilla got, like, real 60s, real silly. That's when you started meeting a lot of the classic monsters.
Like,
and then...
Which one was the one where he had the flying kick?
That was in the Showa era.
Okay.
Then you have the Heisei era, which is the Godzilla that started in 1985 and lasts through the 90s. And that series, that's my favorite series of the Japanese ones, because those are all like built on one another.
Yeah.
But the Godzilla 19 is either 84 or 85. We'd have to look it up. Is actually a sequel to the 1954 one.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's funny because Godzilla 1954, that Godzilla dies. All the sequels in both eras are another, like, it follows up with another Godzilla.
Okay.
And then after the Heisei era, because that ends with Godzilla versus Destroya.
Destroya?
Yeah.
Destroya of your shit?
So that Godzilla series, like I said, ends with Godzilla vs. Destroya. Then Godzilla 2000 came out, and that was a direct response to the 1998 Godzilla movie, which a lot of people disliked, except for you.
I liked it.
That's a lot of fish.
Godzilla 2000 was the Millennium Era, or the beginning of that. Weirdly enough, though, 2000 is also a direct sequel to Godzilla 1954, or it is a sequel. It takes place in 2000, but almost every single film in the Millennium Era isn't related to each other. So you have like Godzilla 2000, you have Godzilla versus Megaguirus, which that one is just weird, and then you have Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, then you have Godzilla Tokyo SOS. They all used almost the same suit for that movie, for Godzilla, but only two of them are related to each other, and that's Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and Godzilla Tokyo SOS. And then, throughout that whole series, you have two more films which came out, which was Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. That's a mouthful, just like me. After that movie came out, they did Godzilla Final Wars in 2004, which was... This one was supposed to be like the last Godzilla film that Toho ever made. And it had like all the monsters in it. He just went around wrecking house the whole time. They had this American MMA fighter in it. I forget his name, but he's got the mustache. He's hilarious in the movie. So Godzilla went away for a little bit, came back with Shin Godzilla for Toho after America made Godzilla 2014. Okay. And then Shin was another direct sequel.
Okay, so Shin Godzilla was after 2014's Godzilla.
Yeah.
The legendary one. Okay. I don't know why that confused me, because I couldn't place where Shin Godzilla was actually made.
Yeah, no. And yeah, Shin Godzilla, I've heard that it's good. I haven't seen it. That's still one that's on my list to see.
I've only seen... I have seen a YouTube video where it was just the initial attack of Godzilla attacking the town or something, and he's just waddling around with no front legs.
Yeah.
Looks creepy as hell. That's why I watched it.
Yeah. So, like, as far as that one goes, from what I've gathered, it's it really reminds me of like what would happen if Godzilla got taken over by the Thing. Honestly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we'll get into that whenever we review Shin Godzilla. This video is about Godzilla Minus One, and this is a period piece, and it is the first one that is not a direct sequel to 1954 because it is a reboot.
Right.
Well, I say that Shin Godzilla is also a complete reboot, too, that wasn't related to the 54 in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, after all that's being said, I think we can tell you're the Godzilla expert. Because the only Godzilla movies I've seen besides bits and pieces of the older ones is Godzilla 1998 and then this movie.
Well, and Legendaries series.
Honestly, I think of Legendaries as just a completely different... No, it's not even the same thing. Even though it's Godzilla, I don't think of it as the same thing.
It seems like it's catching on to the silliness of everything, though. We'll get into that later. But again, like I said, this doesn't take place in 1954. This one actually takes place in from 1945 to I think 1947. Maybe is that what it said in the movie?
Yeah, it takes place over the course of a few years.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, I do want to bring up the budget versus the box office. We were talking about it before we started recording. This movie has only had a budget of $15 million, and it's actually I would say it's a well-made movie. For $15 million, it's well-made. Well-made.
The special effects look great.
I can only think of a few times that they were a little bit wonky, but
yeah,
for the most part, they were pretty good.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you have Marvel movies with these $100 million budgets, and
yeah,
they all look like shit recently.
Pretty much. But right now, this movie has only been out worldwide roughly this weekend that we're recording, and it's already made $35 million, so it's already doubled its budget, which is good.
You want to get into the plot now?
Yes. All right, so this movie it first starts off with a pilot coming in for landing on a pretty obviously destroyed airstrip, and comes in for a landing. It's apparently on a base that's meant for repairing planes.
Yeah.
But specifically the planes that they're meant to repair are ones that are going to be used for kamikaze.
Yeah, and keep in mind this is a Japanese movie, so it's a lot of it's from the Japanese point of view.
Yes.
This is a kamikaze pilot from World War II, and if you don't know what that is, look it up.
The fact that he's a kamikaze pilot is basically this character's almost his entire motivation throughout the entire movie.
Yes.
So it's kind of a very important part of him, because he basically faked that there was something wrong with his plane because he couldn't go through with his mission.
Yeah.
And it eats away at him the entire time. And it's very much, I feel more like it's a very cultural thing of you had this mission you were supposed to do and you were unable. You were a coward.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I like about this movie is he spends the whole movie feeling like he's a coward and all this other stuff because it is that cultural World War II Japan versus kind of the changing of the culture right after the war. You can tell that this movie is very anti-war culture from Japan back then. I think that's great. If you guys watch the video of us talking about the trailer, we're talking about some of the stuff that Japan did in World War II and how horrible it was. And they do talk a lot about throwing away their own lives and the government not caring about them. And they throw a ton of shade at the Japanese government.
Yeah, this movie throws a lot of shade at the Japanese government.
Yeah.
Of the time. After some stuff takes place, eventually the night falls and freaking Godzilla is basically a T-Rex at this point.
Yeah. What that is too is that is kind of an interesting callback to the Heisei era Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, where you find out that Godzilla was actually a Godzillasaurus. And that's the name they took. That's the name they call it, the Godzillasaurus, that got mutated by a nuke.
That is basically what happens in this movie. So Godzilla starts attacking this town, and our main character apparently had talked to some people, some local residents of this island, and they call it Gojira, or Godzilla.
Yeah.
He just shows up and is just like, oh, fuck yo, shit, I'm gonna break it. He just starts breaking stuff. The commander mechanic guy, whoever he is, tells our pilot to get into his plane because it has a big gun on it and he can use it to shoot at Godzilla. And as that was happening, I was thinking that gun ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah, well, I mean it's 20 millimeter. It would definitely hurt, but You honestly have no way of knowing this is
You have no
Godzillasaurus we're talking about.
Yeah. He gets in the plane, and once again he chokes. He can't do it because he chokes.
He's a coward.
He's a coward.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point. So everyone's a coward because the guys in the trench start firing at Godzillasaurus. And Godzilla's like, what the fuck? I'm gonna fuck you. Godzilla yeets some people out of existence. And that's gonna show my age. I'm old. I'm old on the memes. But Godzilla walks up to this guy, one of the guys. He grabs him and literally like flips his head back and launches him into the fucking ether.
He said, "Fuck you."
And it's. I'm joking about it now, but it's a really well done scene. You're legitimately terrified of this weird monster that's attacking these guys.
And the special effects in that scene are good. They're really good.
They're really good. I would almost put it on par with like some of the Jurassic Park stuff.
Yeah, no, they were that good. Okay, so anyways, Comic Coward. I can't find a good nickname for this guy.
Anime protagonist.
Mr. Screamy.
Somehow, after Godzilla starts eating people and destroying stuff, our main character, protagonist guy, is the only one that survives in the entire base.
Well, he's not. The head mechanic survives too.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He gets knocked out, and when he wakes up, the head mechanic's got all these bodies drugged together from everyone who's died. I wonder if he took a shovel and scooped up the ones that got squished.
I wonder how he got the guy that got eaten in the ocean.
He probably didn't. He was like, nah, fuck that.
Honestly, when the guy woke up and all the bodies were lined up, I was like, how did Godzilla manage to kill everyone in just in a perfect line? Then I realized, they're probably collecting the bodies.
Yeah. So, then it cuts to them being on a ship. They're heading home, and the head mechanic guy forces our little coward to take all the pictures. The people who died's families and whatnot, and that's a huge driving point for his character motivation because he keeps them.
Yeah.
And then when he gets home, his neighbor lady is like blaming him for her children's death in the air raids because he didn't do his job and he made it back and they didn't. And there's a lot of themes of survivor's guilt with this guy. After that happens, he's out doing some stuff. He comes across this woman who's running away from these people because she's stolen something, and she gives him something, and it turns out to be a whole ass kid.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you've been drafted into fatherhood.
He tries to leave the kid on a bench too.
Yeah, he does. He thinks about leaving that kid, but just ultimately decides against it, and the girl's like, "Ha, you're mine now, bitch," and forces him to let her live with him and the kid.
And they're like basically in a shanty town.
Yeah.
It's been rebuilt out of. I think they're in Tokyo, like a subset of Tokyo.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. People are building up shanty towns.
And they're recovering from the war, and most of these people aren't the people who fought. They're civilians.
Right.
So.
And that's another thing about about World War II is that. A lot of people think that America just dropped 2 bombs on Japan.
No, they decimated Tokyo. They decimated the shit out of Tokyo.
Oh, yeah. They carpet bombed. A lot of places got destroyed during the war, and everyone's just trying to survive at this point.
Yeah.
All right. So the next major thing that happens is basically he's trying to find a job. And he manages to find a job clearing up undersea mines.
Yes.
And he makes a bunch of money. And this is a couple years down the line. From where he was basically forced into fatherhood.
Yeah, he gets the job recovering mines, and then as that's going on, we start getting I think we get an American report of a creature that's just destroying ships.
Yeah,
that's out there destroying ships.
Well, they have some setup. So the guys on the boats, they have a big gun on the boat.
Yeah,
that they're using to blow up the mines from a distance, and. Our pilot, our main character guy, our protagonist guy, is the best shot and is starting to teach the other guys how to hit the mines because you have to because you're moving on a boat, you have to think about where it's going to be and so on and so forth. Then they come across basically one of the destroyed ships that Godzilla has destroyed, and this is when our main character realizes, because one of the things we didn't mention is that apparently the coming of Godzilla is shown by bunches of dead fish.
Yeah.
Big bunch of dead fish. So he notices the fish.
And they call them deep sea fish, too.
Yeah, just deep sea fish. I think that's a translation thing or something. I don't know.
He must have farted or something, and it just killed all the fish.
It's not bad. I wouldn't say the translation's bad. It just seemed a little strange in a few bits. They find the ship, and I'm pretty sure they were actually drafted to basically scout and figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, those were their orders.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily figure out what's going on thing. It's to keep the big lizard busy until they can get the warship in to try to take the fucker out.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what they do, though, because Godzilla does show up, and he decimates one of the boats like that.
Oh, he just eats the boat.
Yeah. And then we get a scene that's very, very reminiscent of Jaws.
Yes.
In my mind.
I would say that scene, this scene is pretty cool. I really like the ship.
Was.
Yeah.
Special effects wise too, it was just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you only really have to animate his head coming out of the water. So.
Yeah, and it looks really good. It looks real smooth too.
Yeah, I've seen a few screenshots of that scene where he's getting his head out of the water and his eyes are dead focused on the boat. He's like, "Fuck your boat."
Godzilla's got some toot in this movie too.
He does. Godzilla is pissed.
Yeah.
But admittedly, I think there's a point before this where you actually see that there's like a nuclear bomb that goes off in the ocean, and you can see that Godzilla is in the water. And I think that's they're trying to explain that's why he gets so big. So Godzilla is chasing him down in the boat, and they have these two mines on the boat that has been set up for them to try and attack Godzilla with. So they get the one going, and the first one basically just kind of knocks him in the head, and he doesn't do anything to him. But then they decide for the second one, we're going to get it into his mouth. And it's one of those things, yeah, they drop it and they get it into his mouth. And just exactly like the shark from Jaws, I'm like, why the fuck is this shark, why is it just holding it in its mouth? It just doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a giant metal object in my mouth. I'm just going to keep holding it.
Yeah, well, they shoot the mine and it blows up.
It blows off the top of his head.
Yeah, and then it immediately heals.
Yes, it just grows back. And that was the sign. Oh, so there's nothing we can do.
Yeah. And right before Godzilla comes after him, Godzilla gets to the boat, Godzilla's hit by a Japanese destroyer.
Yeah.
And they're all cheering. And this is probably my favorite scene of the movie, is when Godzilla attacks that destroyer.
Yeah.
Because that scene is awesome.
He gets all up in that destroyer business.
Yeah. Godzilla, he fights the destroyer for a second. It actually bombards the shit out of him and forces him to retreat. But then you see a blue light coming from up under the water, and the atomic breath just chops that boat in half.
Yeah. His atomic breath has gotten a huge upgrade in this movie. And they call it a heat ray in this a lot.
Yeah.
Not his
but we all know what it is. And it has a nuclear type style effect too.
Yes, because we're gonna get to that, because there was a clip in the second trailer that we were trying to see what was happening where he just goes "Hua!" and it just cuts real fast. Turns out that cut is at the perfect moment, because at that moment he just dead stops and bleh. Our heroes on our boat, they realize they can't do shit to stop Godzilla. Godzilla climbs up on shore and starts attacking. And this is where a lot of the trailer footage is from. It's from this bit right here.
Yeah.
You've got the woman that he's been with this whole time. She's gotten a job, so she's in the area. She's on a train. She gets attacked. Godzilla tries to eat
and the
her.
whole movie they're talking about oh, why haven't you married her yet? And he's like, you don't think I want to? Yeah, that ultimately ends up not really being important, but they keep mentioning it, they keep bringing it up.
Yeah. So Godzilla starts destroying this town. There's a bunch of stuff going down, and eventually, our main protagonist and the lady with the kid. The kid's not there. The kid's completely in a different area. They meet up with Godzilla attacking.
She's the gold digger.
But they meet up with Godzilla attacking, and they're running away, and then they manage to get to a spot on a spot next to a building where there's an opening, and this is when Godzilla starts charging up his atomic breath.
Yeah,
and it's the whole thing of bang bang, and all of his spines have to extend and glow before he can actually fire it. And he fires it, and then it's basically just straight up as a nuclear bomb. It just goes off. It creates a mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
All of that, and then
the destruction in this scene is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like when we were talking about like him walking around and the road just coming up in the trailer. You pointed out yesterday, like there were bodies on that. And,
in the trailer, it's just ground coming up, but in the movie, there are people being flung up by the ground.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah, this movie is very violent and still somehow PG-13.
I guess there's no direct, like, you can see things from a distance.
There's no blood.
Before we get to the last bit of this scene, one of my favorite parts of the entire movie is the reporter on the roof.
Yeah.
And he's they're like right next to Godzilla, who's destroying another building, and he's just talking about, oh my god, I'm in so much danger right now. This is so dangerous. Why am I here?
And then he dies.
Yes, he dies.
Quite horribly.
Yes, he falls. So Godzilla's nuclear breath goes off, and they're like, our two main characters are standing next to an opening in a building, and she just pushes him into the thing.
Yeah.
And she goes whoosh and flies away in a nuclear fallout blast of wind.
Yeah. I have two comments about that scene. One we'll get into at the very end of this video. The other one is, how the fuck did he survive that?
That's a good question, because that breath should have done a lot more to the building.
Yeah.
It's plot armor at that point.
Yeah.
He needs to survive because the plot needs him to continue the story.
In the rest of this movie, like after that point, it's a lot of talking, and then we get one big action sequence at the end.
Basically, because this part of the movie, I would say, is the most boring part, because it's just, there's a lot of talking, a lot of planning, a lot of build up to get to our final scene. And the way they're going to try and stop Godzilla is one of the crew members of our little wooden boat is like an ex-scientist.
He's a weapons developer. Yeah.
And he comes up with the idea that if you aerate the water around Godzilla, he'll sink and they're going to do it specifically over a very deep part of the ocean right next to Japan. Right. And they're going to sink him. That's it. That's their plan. And then they have a secondary plan that if that doesn't work, they're going to put a bunch of life rafts around him that will bring him back up to the surface really fast and cause him to basically suffer from the bends.
It's actually a really interesting plan, because I've never seen anything like anyone try to use decompression to kill a monster before.
I don't know if it would work, honestly.
On something like Godzilla, who knows?
It's like, I have no idea if it would work, but you don't have a whole lot of options in this movie, so... But our main character comes up with a plan C, basically.
Yeah. He loads a plane with explosives, and he's like, I'm going to fly this bitch down your throat.
Yeah. Well, actually, I really liked that he was desperately trying to find the mechanic from the beginning of the movie. Yeah. And they brought him back in, because they had this...
And he lied to him, too. He was blaming him for all the people's deaths on the island. And the guy shows up, and this is one of my problems with the movie. No. When the guy shows up and finds him, he beats the ever-loving fuck out of the main guy. So much so that he has got like a swollen eye shut for exactly one scene. And the next scene takes place a day later, and it's just gone.
Yeah. But they have this weird experimental plane, which is kind of a cool plane. I feel like I've seen something like it before. But
it's based on a real thing, I'm pretty sure.
But our kamikaze pilot has decided that his way of solving this is he's going to do what he was originally supposed to do. And he thinks he's going to kamikaze himself into Godzilla to kill him. Yeah. So he gets him to put this big ass bomb on the plane.
Yeah, he put several in there too.
Yeah. And as his plan C is he's going to fly into Godzilla's mouth and go bleh.
Yeah. So they discuss the plan. He actually leaves the kid he was drafted to take care of with the neighbor lady, because the neighbor lady was actually started kind of help take care of the kid with them.
She's kind of like
the cool aunt. Yeah. So he does that. She gets a random telegram, which you see the ending coming from a mile away once she gets that telegram. So then they set out to do this plan, and they execute it just about perfectly, up to the point where they sink Godzilla and they're bringing him back up, and you find out that he's chewed through the lines.
I don't know how the hell he did that. He just was like, meh.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, fine, we'll just like drag him up with our crane and the boats, and they try to do that, and then they decide to rip off Rise of Skywalker and have everyone show up and help.
My friends, I'm sorry. I thought we had a shot. There's just too many of them.
But there are more of us, Poe.
Look at this.
Yeah, all the fucking rando boats.
Yeah.
Show up to help.
They bring a bunch of tugboats in. They go to pull him up. They pull him up, and you find out, oh, he's damaged, but it didn't work.
Yeah. Because remember, he can regenerate, so any damage
Yeah.
he gets is just going to come right back.
So, yeah, I mean, and then it's pretty, like, it seems like it takes forever for everything to happen. And when describing the plot, there's not much more to it than, like, the guy flies the plane into his mouth and blows his fucking head off. Like, but before he does it, he pulls a lever and exits out of the plane.
Yes, they have installed an ejector seat in this. And there's a point before this where there's like a speech, and someone specifically points out the fact that the Japanese government specifically didn't put ejector seats in their planes.
Yeah, because they're making comments about, like, we're doing this for us, we're not doing this for the government, because the government was just basically telling us to waste our lives.
Yeah, this is actually another thing that we didn't bring up yet, was that this is actually a civilian-led attack on Godzilla. This is not related to the military doing it. They just basically lent them some shit to do it with. Yeah, so they specifically called that out. The moment that they said anything about an ejector seat, I was like, oh, he's going to have an ejector seat in the plane. He's going to survive.
I think it would have been cooler, because it does flash back to the head mechanic is actually, like, telling him, like, you eject and live is what he basically says.
Yeah.
I wish they didn't include that scene in there and just had it sort of, okay, pull this lever to pull the safety off the bomb right before you release it. It'd actually just be the ejector and him just go flying out of the fucking plane.
No.
That would have been cooler.
That would have been cool. That would have been hilarious. I mean, he would have been fucking shocked. Like, what the fuck?
That would have been cooler, though, honestly. And I get that's not how the ejector seats actually work, but that still would have been so much funny. This is so much better. We get to the biggest bullshit in this whole movie is you kill Godzilla and whatnot. Godzilla's body sinks to the bottom of the ocean. The guy gets home, or the guy gets back, and the nanny hands him the telegram. The guy takes the little girl, and they go to this hospital, and you find out that the woman who forced him to take care of this random child that's not even his or hers is still alive.
She survived. She has an eye patch on.
Yeah, she's got an eye patch on. But also, one of the more interesting things about this, and I don't know if they're ever going to make a sequel to this movie. Everyone wanted them to do a Shin Godzilla sequel, and they never did. So they probably won't with this one. But if you pay attention to the back of her neck, she's got this black shit in her veins that keeps popping up and moving around. So she's either been infected by some of Godzilla's cells or something, or she's got radiation sickness. I'm not sure which one, because I don't know how radiation sickness works, because, I build truck parts, I'm not a doctor. And then he goes and hugs her and cries, and then the movie's over. Or is it?
Yes, because this isn't an end credits or a mid credits. This is before the credits. This is an old-fashioned way of doing it.
Yeah.
They cut to Godzilla's mangled corpse, and it's bulging and growing again, because he can fucking regenerate.
I can bulge and grow.
Godzilla is a bulge.
But yeah, that's basically the plot of this movie. Real simple, real easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest benefit of the plot is its simplicity. It really is.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of flashbacks to to Jaws. It felt like Jaws.
And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. We're going to score this bitch.
I'm curious how people will feel about our scores if people watch this video.
Yeah, if you get this far, kudos to you.
All right, for all of the movies that we score them on 9 separate categories. Those categories can have a total of 0 to 100 points, 0 being the lowest, 100 being the highest. And at the end, we will tally them all together to create an average, and we each have our own average, and then we average our averages together, and that creates an average.
It's a very average system.
So, we shall start with the plot.
Before we get started with this, I just want to point out. So, our grading scale, like he said, it's a 0 to 100 scale, but a lot of people, whenever they think of like grading scales, they think a C starts after like below 80. Our grading scale, we have A for an A. A movie has to be scored from 100 to 85. A B is 84 to 70. A C is 70 to 55. A D is 54 to 40. And an F is 40 and below. So a lot of you guys who are going to be complaining, because I know you will be, if a category scored, say, a 65, you have to remember that's still a C. With that being said, Adam, what did you score the plot?
It's a very simple plot. I don't see it as a bad plot, so I did give it an above average score. I'm just going to say it. I gave it a 58.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I didn't think the plot was bad. I do like that it was simple. The biggest thing with me, and I know a lot of people found a lot of the movie entertaining. I honestly thought there were a lot of things about the plot that were kind of boring.
Yeah.
And that's really it, though. Like, other than that, like, I liked the movie. For plot, I gave this film a 65.
I honestly think a lot of the really good scores this movie is getting is more to do with how shit so many movies have been lately, and people are just so sick of that shit that they're like, oh, this comes along and it's mildly competent, and they're like, holy crap, look how good this is.
Yeah.
All right, next up is the story structure.
Story structure, I feel like they told the story. Like, that's the difference we say between like story and plot. Is story is how it's told, and plot is the story.
Yes.
I feel like it was told very well through the lens it was told through. You know, it's a good period piece. I gave story a 77.
I agree. The story, I felt like, was told pretty well. Not like mind-blowingly good, but, you know, still very well. So I ended up giving it a 76.
Oh, shit.
All right, next up is the characters.
This was an interesting one for me because it's like, I don't want to fault the film because it's a different culture. And it was a different time in that culture. That being said, the characters are very consistent. They do, like, the main guy at least has an arc, and he's really the only character with any character development. That being said, you spend the whole movie with him.
Yeah.
So, I can't really fault it there for the other characters feeling not as developed. I mean, the girl's developed well. She's not in it enough.
I don't know much of anything about her besides she was given a kid and now is taking care of the kid. That's literally her entire character.
I wish she had gotten more screen time because, like, you know that she was a thief. You know she was just trying to survive, and she found him. But that being said, like, I feel like the main guy's story is told very, very well, and that's why I gave characters a 69, or character.
I completely agree. Our main character is the only one that really has a character arc. All of our characters are consistent, but very basic. They're archetypes, is what I mean to say. So I ended up giving characters a 65. Next up is the world building.
Straight up, I mean, this is a new Godzilla universe again. So there's not much. It's a very self-contained story as well. World building, I do like that in this one they actually mention what the U.S. is doing.
Yeah.
Because they're busy handling Soviet issues. World building, I gave it an 80.
So my world building, I feel like for the beginning of this new Godzilla, it establishes it very well. I don't really like that he has the ability to regenerate from any wound. It'd be better for me if he was just kind of like very, very durable instead. Because the regenerating is just kind of like...
The regenerating is a very new thing. That didn't start till Godzilla 2000.
Yeah. He's having the ability to regenerate from any wound is just like... What's even the point? Just... If that's the case, then the only thing you need to focus on is just defending yourself. Mm-hmm. So if Godzilla shows up, you hide in a bunker until he fucks off. But I gave world building a 78. Next up is the acting, which might be an interesting category.
So I was torn on this one because, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday when we went and saw the movie.
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing. It's definitely a cultural thing, so I didn't want to, like, fault it too much. I wanted to give them credit where credit was due based on... you know, how they act in their stuff. So, that being said, it's like, I wanted to say that, you know, they kind of overact, but, I mean, that just might be a thing they did, but for what they were trying to execute and do, they did it very well, and so I gave acting a 70.
So I've watched a lot of anime. I haven't watched a lot of live action Japanese stuff. I feel like that overacting thing is just very common in Japanese acting and culture. I personally liked the acting, but at the same time I couldn't put it above much more than slightly above average. So I gave acting a 55. I will say with acting, I feel like I mentioned it yesterday. I feel like every time the little girl had to cry, I feel like there was someone behind her just pinching her continuously. She's just standing there. She's just like, ah.
For those of you who have kids, you know how realistic that is. So just a kid just randomly, especially with how young she was. This girl was like, what, 4 maybe? At the most 4.
All right, next category is special effects.
This is one of the 3 highest grades for me on here, because special effects were done very, very well for the budget and what they did. And that's the main topic I've been talking about this whole video. For special effects, I gave it a 93.
Considering how low its budget was, the special effects in this movie were really freaking good, actually. There were a couple of times where the special effects were kind of a little bit off to me. There's one scene where there's a faraway shot of a ship that's moving, and there's people running on the ship that you can tell are basically like stick figures. They're just like...
I didn't even notice that.
Stick figures is not exact. I mean, they're not like obviously like the stupid stick figure thing, but you can tell that there's something wonky about the people running on the ship. There's a couple of things with like heavy things being thrown around where suddenly the movement of something just stops out of fucking nowhere. And it's like with the train, I mentioned in one of the trailer videos that there's a train that flies overhead and it's just like, it's in the air and then suddenly, bam, it's in the ground, standing up. Godzilla's atomic breath, when he does the whole going back and then firing it, it's just ridiculously quick. How he just is in that huge movement and then suddenly dead stops as he's firing. And it's just because to me it just seemed like it was a little bit off. That being said, I still like the CG in this movie a lot. Special effects got a 80.
Okay.
I do also, one last thing I want to point out was that Godzilla's design was very reminiscent of a dude in a suit.
Yeah, 100%.
Like a realistic version of a dude in a suit. All right, next up is the music.
The music in this movie, I think, was really, really good. That was one of the highlights for me, especially whenever they start using the old Godzilla theme.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the music, whenever they're trying to give it kind of that eerie tone, that eerie music they play the music in the trailer too. I loved it. I thought that was really good. That was, honestly, that's the highest I've scored this movie is for the music, and music got a 97 for me.
See, I am not very musically inclined. I couldn't have, honestly, the original music, I couldn't have picked it out unless someone pointed it out, which I watched a couple of other reviews of this movie and they pointed it out, the specific what the original music was.
Yeah.
I did like the design of the music, although I didn't give it a glowing review. I gave it a 68.
How dare you? No.
All right, next up is the cinematography.
Cinematography, this is another category that I gave it a really, really high score. The cinematography in this movie I think is done really, really well, especially the scenes with Godzilla going after the boat. That just looks fantastic, and that's another good mark for the special effects that I gave it. Another one is when Godzilla uses his atomic breath.
Yeah.
That first time, or that not the first time, whenever he's in the city, you can see the particles and stuff like coming into his mouth right before they just explode out. Yeah. I gave this category a 96.
I pretty much agree. I really like the cinematography of this movie. I gave it a pretty high score of 85. Last up is the most important score of the entire thing, because this is the very subjective fun category. This category is how much did we actually enjoy the movie?
This movie. I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was great, unfortunately. There's a lot of great things about the movie, and I do think it's probably the best Godzilla movie that's come out in the last 10 years. I haven't seen Shin Godzilla yet, so I'm going to have to watch that one before I can actually make that decision. But like I said, good, not great. A lot of people are probably going to be upset about that in the comments, but, this is a subjective review.
Yeah.
I gave my fun score a 75 or a 7.5 out of 10, which is still a B.
So I'm very similar in that. As I've said earlier, I feel like this movie is getting a lot of glowing reviews because it's competent in a lot of ways, which is not something that you can say about a lot of other movies that have come out recently. But I still found this movie entertaining. I did actually like the human drama as we were watching it, but eventually I did kind of get sick of it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, because it's like the human drama is good whenever you're focusing more on like the family stuff, but it gets to the point where they're kind of just repeating the same shit over and over again. But then whenever they're trying to like figure out how to kill Godzilla and whatnot, it gets kind of boring, if I'm being completely honest. And again, they're gonna tear us apart in the comments for that, but that's just how we feel.
Yeah.
And like we said, we don't think this movie is bad by any means.
No, I don't. I ended up giving Fun a 72. All right, so my final score came to a 70.77, and that gives it a 7.1 out of 10, which is very close to what the Fun score I gave it was, actually, which lands it a B in my category.
And my final score was an 80.22, which also just happens to be a B. And that brings our final score, which is probably going to be a B, to a 75.49. Which, if we get out our handy-dandy list...
Where this movie is actually on the list of the movies that we've reviewed and released the videos for, this is where it's at.
Yeah. So of the movies we've reviewed, including the ones we haven't released the videos for yet, and the ones that we have... So our total list right now has 20 films on it. Godzilla Minus One ranks number 8.
As far as Godzilla Minus One comes, our final score basically is a 7.5 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Which it's a passing score. And the way I would always put it is the way I want things to be scored is that 5 is an average. That is like bare minimum. It's average across the board. Whereas, and a 7.5 is a very well above average movie. It's a good movie. It's not the super glowing reviews that everyone else is giving it, but...
Yeah. If you're into Godzilla, you'll like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend watching the movie, 100%.
Anyway, this has been the Random Onion, doing another review for the list. Please remember to like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
And make sure to comment about how terrible we are to talking about Godzilla and Japanese culture.
Also, make sure your door is locked. You wouldn't want me to come tickle you.